Islands in the sun. Islands in the...
I've been in the bush my entire life, for as long as I can remember. I remember as a child, I used to just be reading books from outside. All the different animal books I could find. I used to see these animals and say, one day I'm gonna find these things. And now I am finding things that I could have never dreamed that I would have gotten to see.
Saifuddin Mohammed's group, West Indian Hopping, dedicated to the conservation of reptiles and amphibians, sometimes goes in search of a specific creature, and sometimes they might find a rare treasure.
We were just driving up the Arima Blanchisseuse Road. I was hanging out the window of the car, and I saw this little, looking like a vine on the side of the road. And it just took me a few seconds to realize, wait, that vine looked kind of snaky. So I screamed out, stop the car, stop the car. I got out of the car, walked up to it, and it just was followed by a few minutes of screaming and crying and hugging up, because we just found a snake that...
It was like a myth.
It was like a legendary animal. Almost nobody has ever seen it. I am one of probably 3 people alive in the world who can say that they've found that snake alive. Yeah. And only in Trinidad, only found in Northern Range in Trinidad.
Snakes are actually a favorite among the group, of which former professional footballer Nicholas Walker sometimes joins on expeditions.
Snakes in general, for me, is, I don't know, boy. Like you were saying, like to me, it's very, very fascinating that you have no legs or arms, but yet you can climb trees and you can eat birds that fly. Like think about that. Like think about how fascinating it is that a snake that crawls on the floor can eat a bird that flies. That to me is, I don't know, I pay respect to that.
But don't worry too much if you're not a fan.
In Trinidad and Tobago, we only have 4 species of venomous snakes. Learn what those are, everything else is harmless. So we have 2 vipers, which is the bushmaster, locally known as the Mapapi zanana. We have the Fliderlands, locally known as the Mapapi balsane, and we have 2 species of coral snakes.
The young conservationist assured.
I think it's also just understanding the animals. Like you respect them, as he said, you give them their space, and you wouldn't believe how easy it is or how close you can get if you just respect their space.
According to Saifuddin, it's all about having a comprehensive knowledge of the topic and doing your research. On one mission, he observed a minute crab whose claws looked different to the ones he had previously seen.
And after communicating with some crab experts, I'm no crab expert, I do reptiles and amphibians. After speaking to some crab experts, they said, yeah, that's it. So we accidentally rediscovered a species that was lost to science for 68 years.
On the topic of Tobago,
Trinidad and Tobago were never really connected. Tobago would have drifted from somewhere in that Venezuela, Colombia area and drifted and settled to where it is now. So you find a lot of things on Tobago that you don't find here.
the guys are working on a full-length documentary that they hope to release next year. In the meantime, they continue to explore our beloved country's eco-treasures. I'm Giselle Legall, encouraging you to live for local.
Islands in the sun.